Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to TAUI and Blog Talk Radio. Good evening. This is Ra Un Nefer Amen, your host for this segment of the TAUI Internet Radio Show on Blog Talk Radio. Peace et Apple. Blessings to all of you. Well, we have a very interesting evening. Some very, very old teachings that unfortunately have not been properly received into the world for the past several thousand years. We have a chance to set the record straight. We have a chance to learn the truth and hopefully improve our lives. You know, you look at Egypt, a magnificent civilization, accomplished a great deal. Nobody can argue with that. But very few people will say that these people accomplished so much because they had great talent. They accomplished so much because they understood how to cultivate talent, how to use the mind properly. They were pioneers, the first and most important things for civilization, including religious teachings. You know, lots of people like to claim that they were the first in this and the first in that and the oldest in this and the oldest in that, but we have to be disciplined. You know, we have to go beyond what people claim and just what people write down in their books. And what they say that so-and-so said, and look at archaeological records. Look at the records. We need objectivity. And that's what we'll do tonight, because there's so much that we can learn from ancient Egypt, Kemet, the Kemetic civilization, as it is known in other quarters. There have been possibly tens of thousands of books written on Egypt. There's so much about Egyptian culture and greatness that thousands of writers have just written books and articles and stories about Egypt. And many people would conclude that, who have read many of these books, will conclude that they therefore have an understanding and a knowledge of what Egyptian culture, what Egyptian civilization and spirituality, what its religion was all about. Well, the essential point that we want to make tonight is that if you were to read the account that the Egyptians left of themselves, you know, they wrote books. They were the first ones to write, and to write about their spiritual practices, their spiritual notions and beliefs and concepts. If we were to read what they actually said that they were about, you will be surprised to find that what most experts, the great Egyptologists, I'm talking about the greatest Egyptologists, Faulkner, Ehrman, Breasted, Wallace Budge, and so on. Books published, by the Princeton Library in New Jersey, and books that you can purchase in the museums, written by PhDs. When you compare what the Egyptians said about themselves and their religion and their spiritual practices with what the great Egyptologists say about the Egyptians, you will be lost. You'll be left wondering, are they speaking about the same people, the same culture, the same religion? For example, were I to say to you that the Christian religion was polytheistic, they worship many gods, you would refute me instantly. You see that? You will open up the Bible. You will open up the Old Testament, the New Testament, and, go to the appropriate pages and say, see here, you do not know what you're talking about. Meaning that you will go to what the Christians and the Jews said about themselves. When we want to understand Islam, if you're going to talk about Islam, you have to read the Quran. You have to be versed in the Quran. You cannot deviate from it. If you want to speak about Christianity and Judaism, you have to read the Torah, the Mishnahs. You have to read the New Testament. If you want to talk about talk about Hinduism, you have to read the Bhagavad Gita, the Puranas, the different books, the Vedas, what these people said about themselves. Yet, when it comes to Egypt, all the experts are just talking, and writing, and they are not referring to what the Egyptians wrote down about their spirituality. That is interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. So we're going to set the record straight by, looking at what the Egyptians said about themselves. But before I go into that, I just want to first lay down the foundation for spirituality, because you have to get a proper understanding of spirituality and the Egyptian spiritual view to begin to understand their work. First and foremost, when we look at spirituality from the practice of spirituality, how people practice spirituality and their objectives, we will find that spirituality has two fundamental concerns. One of it is what we call mind or spirit over matter. See that? In other words, if you cannot pay your mortgage or the doctors cannot find a solution to your illness, and you start to pray to get some money, you start to pray to reclaim your health, you are involved in a practice, you're involved in a process of imposing, some superior agent, whether it is mind, spirit, or a divinity, over the earth, over matter, earthly things. You're looking for a miracle. And this is, in terms of religion and spiritual practice, this is the silver thread that runs through them. Whether you pray to the Son of God, you pray to God, or you pray to a divinity, or you're using a mantra, or you're using a prayer, or some people say they are, trying to get the blessings from the universe, and so on. It's all about appealing to some agent or power that has superior or is superior to earthly things. You see that? Let's understand that. I want to use the concept mind over matter.